Intellectual property doesn't affect me, does it? A friend's reunion. Let me tell you a little story. 5 friends graduated together who'd shared a house at university. They were very different people, but they had become very good friends. Angie was creative and artistic. She'd studied fashion and textiles and loved designing and making clothing ranges. Ed was a genius. He studied physics and loved inventing. Lance was a serial entrepreneur with ventures he'd started ever since he was a young boy. He'd studied business studies. Danielle was full of creative ideas. She'd studied graphic design, specialising in branding. And James had a brilliant analytical mind. He'd studied law. After graduation, they'd started by keeping in touch on social media. But as time passed, life happened and they drifted apart. 15 years had passed before they had a reunion. When they met up, they shared all that had happened in those years. Angie had built up her clothing business, selling her creations on Instagram at £65 to £70 each. Then one day, a friend told her she'd seen an online global retailer selling copies of her designs at £47 each. She'd wonder why her sales had gone down to nearly nothing. This was why. Ed had spent years inventing brilliant ideas in his garage. He shared his many ideas with his friends at the pub, and he approached companies to share the groundbreaking ideas with them. They listened intently, but didn't take on any of his ideas. 8 months later, he saw they had copied all his inventions without telling him or giving him any money. Lance built multiple businesses over many years with lots of income streams. Then in 2024, Lance got 2 emails demanding £440 and £5,000 for images he'd used without the proper permissions. These were the images he'd used in his websites many years before. Danielle built up a successful branding studio with designers on her team and clients from all over the UK, Europe and the USA. She received an email saying they'd infringed someone else's intellectual property in their designs and were being taken to court. Danielle ended up clocking up £35,416 in legal fees in trying to defend herself and her company. Several years on, she was still paying off this debt. It felt like a second mortgage. The stress caused her to develop irritable bowel syndrome, which blighted her daily life. James sat and listened to their stories. He said there was a common thread in all of them. James said if each of them had had knowledge of intellectual property rights, the stories could have been very different. Grab a cuppa and get a 10-minute crash course in understanding intellectual property. Intellectual property doesn't affect me, does it? Go to the website to see more at www.amanyaipcourses.com.